Hey, how we doing everybody? Chris Duffy here, commercial real estate advisor based out of Tampa, Florida. And today I want to do a fun video. I'm going to do 50 commercial real estate slang or niche terms that are applicable to the industry that you may or may not have heard before. All right, so I'm going to try to rip through these quick, because 5 minutes ain't a lot of time. City. Typically used in the mobile home park space. It means the park is on city water and city sewer. Take it down means you bought it, like took down a property last year, we bought it. What's the going in cap? Means what's the cap rate day one? What's the income relative to the purchase price? Door, commonly used in multifamily, it means unit. How many doors does the guy have? He's got 1,000 doors, he's got 1,000 units. Retrade, it's when a buyer's got a property under contract in the 11th hour, they come back and try to renegotiate a lower price. Balloon, it's when all of the money that a bank or a lender has loaned you is coming due. Bang phones, means you're cold calling a lot, you're just ripping the phone, you're banging the phone. Back of the napkin means you quickly do an assessment of income versus expenses to arrive at a purchase price. It's not full underwriting. Fannie Freddie. It's typically the best type of debt you can get, otherwise known as agency debt. Only the biggest and best properties qualify for that and the best buyers. Dry powder, cash or capital. He's got a lot of dry powder to play with. Hair on the deal. Means what's wrong with the property or what's something that's not so favorable. Yeah, it's a good property, but the hair on is that it needs a new roof. Vanilla shell. Typically this is with new construction or development. It's when a GC developer or landlord delivers what's essentially a white box or a blank space to a user or tenant, and you just have utilities and drywall and ceiling ran to it, and they can customize the space how they want. Shovel ready. Again, typically used in development or new construction. That means permits are approved and the dirt is ready to start new construction. Capital stack. Pretty much the structure of how a deal is getting funded through a mix of debt and equity. Paper tenant. It's when a financial statement shows a tenant occupying a space or a unit but does not actually exist. On actuals. Means that you bought a property at an accurate price that reflects how the property is performing today, not in the future. So like we bought that property at a 7% cap rate on actuals. It means you bought that at a 7% cap rate as the property is performing today, not some future projected value or pro forma, if you will. Bad boy carve out. This one's used a lot in the syndication space. This is used between a lender and a buyer where the buyer is not being held personally responsible for the loan. However, if they behave as a bad boy and do something, let's say, illegal or unethical, they become responsible for the entirety of the bank note. For example, yeah, I got an agreement with the bank where I'm not personally responsible for the entirety of the loan, but if I go and do this illegal thing here, my bad boy carve out says that I then have to pay them back everything all at once. Flip the paper, common in the assignment or wholesaling industry. Basically, you have a property under contract for a specific price and you assign the equitable interest or the rights of that contract to an end buyer and you collect the spread. You never actually closed on the property, you just flipped the paper. Mom and pop. This is used in a lot of different industries, but it basically is applied to when you have a seller who's actually an older, call it less sophisticated seller who maybe isn't a big investor. They're a mom and pop. They're they own one-off property maybe. Re-paper. It's when you go into a property and you get everybody on a brand new lease. Infill. Common in the mobile home park space. Means you have vacant spaces in your park and you fill them in with new homes and tenants. Underwater means the property is worth less than what the owner owes on it to the bank. Bird dog, it's like a deal finder. The mix, short for unit mix. When you have an apartment building and you ask what's the mix, it's like, well, what's the mix of the units? Are they 2-1s, 1-1s, 3-bedroom, 2-bath? Pencils, does the deal make sense? Does it pencil or does it not pencil? T12, trailing 12. The last 12 months of expenses and income for a property. IO, interest only. Basically a term with banks and lenders where you are only obligated to pay the interest for a predetermined period of time. Punch out, used in development and construction. Basically when you have a newly renovated space and you walk with the GC or the developer or the landlord and you just point out blemishes or things that need attention before you actually occupy the space. Boiler room. It's Type of brokerage or investment house where you have a bunch of guys ripping the phones all day and using high pressure sales tactics to try to get deals done. Not a great term. Whale, a big important client or an investor who owns a ton of property. Seller carry. This is used when you're doing creative finance and you have a seller who's willing to hold paper or hold the financing. You say, how much are they willing to hold back? Well, they'll hold $500,000 back at 3% over 5 years. Bridge, short-term debt. Rip, the fee on a deal that a broker is earning. Turnkey means fully renovated and ready to be occupied. Jam rents. It's when a new owner comes into a property and immediately raises the rents too fast and can increase the likelihood of people leaving. Promote, typically used in the syndication space as well. And it's essentially the profit that the lead sponsor or person running the deal receives after a certain threshold is met to their investors. Hard money, kind of similar to bridge debt. It's basically short-term debt that someone loans you at a very high interest rate to get something done quickly. Money goes hard, not to be confused with hard money. It means the escrow deposit or the good faith money that a buyer puts down is officially non-refundable. Pref, short for preferred return. Basically a certain amount of return or cash flow used in the syndication space that a lead sponsor, the person running the deal, owes to their investors. DD, short for due diligence. And in commercial, it's like the inspection period. Waterfall, again, common in the syndication space. And it's a tiered structure of returns that the lead sponsor, again, the person running the deal, owes to their investors. For example, this guy gets X before this guy gets Y. Turn units, common in multifamily, pretty much just means when you go in and you renovate units and you make them ready for rent. Skinny deal, it's a deal where there's not much margin on it, not a whole lot of profit. Pads, common in the mobile home park space or RV park, means spaces where you can have homes. Deal fatigue or negotiation fatigue. When a deal has been going on for a really long time and everyone involved is super tired, broker, buyer, seller, you name it. Turnaround means a property that needs a ton of work to it. It's a turnaround property, AKA a heavy lift. CapEx, short for capital expenditure, which means a construction improvement done to the property to boost its value. Hey, I really like this deal, but it needs like 200 grand in CapEx. It's like 200 grand in repairs and fixing things or adding new things. OpEx, operating expenses. The expenses you have to pay to keep the property running. And number 50, haircut. It's when a seller takes a loss on a deal when they sell it. They sell it at a price where they just really didn't make a lot of money. Yeah, he took a haircut on that one. Yeah, he's motivated to get a deal done, but he's not going to take a haircut. All right, so I think I definitely went over 5 minutes a little bit, but I wanted to make sure the point was getting across. I think that was 50. I ripped through those pretty quick. Those were more slang niche terms, not like everyday common terms in commercial real estate, like net operating income or cash on cash, things like that. I want to do a fun one with, terms that you probably would only really hear if you were working in the industry. Hopefully I did an okay job of explaining all of those. But yeah, if you get into the industry, you may or may not hear those from time to time, and now you know what they mean. So thanks for watching, and don't forget to reach out to me if you got any questions or I can help you with anything in commercial real estate, especially the mobile home park space. Thanks.